and our committee thank each of you for coming. And I was really excited yesterday to be able to get up to the Lake City Research Center and to see what Dr. Roundtree had done up there and his group here from Michigan, and to see Graham Organics. And that got shorted a little bit. Sorry about that yesterday, but I really think that we had a great tour yesterday. I hope the rest of you did as well. So that's a good way to get started. It's always been kind of a highlight of our conferences, going to see the tours, see what somebody else is doing. And this is a different part of the country up here than where we've been before. So it's a little different. I told some of the people from Michigan, there's kind of maybe one way or two ways in, but you kind of got to come in from the south, or you come across those lakes, you know, and it's not the easiest place to get to. So we might be a little bit, and it's just different. Some of our people from the west are not able to make it this far, but really appreciate all of you that have come, and I think we've got a great program lined up for you. Today we're going to have a lot more, it'd be more producer that are going to be speaking. I think they've got a great story to tell, and I've always said that each one of you out here could just as well be up here telling your story, and that's what the conference is all about, is so that you can have that time to network with those people at your table, to find out what they're doing, and to share what you're doing with others, because we each have that story to tell about what we've been doing, and we're each entrepreneurs. We're those people who, there aren't a lot of us out there, but we're in a business that what we heard from Alan last night is continuing to grow. When we see the big companies like JBS being interested in coming into it, we know that we've come of age. The grass-fed industry is here, it's going to stay. We always had said when we got to that point where we were 5% of the beef market, it's not just a fad, it's something that's going to be here for the future, and we have exceeded that now. We're in that 6 to 7% of the market is grass-fed at this point. So what an exciting business to be in. I think it's a great opportunity for young people and for all of us, really. So would like to give you, just since we are in Michigan, there's quite a number of people from Michigan here that have maybe not ever been to a grass-fed exchange conference before. The exchange started back in 2008 when I was laying in a hospital bed, and I felt like the Lord gave me a vision that that somebody should be able to try to bring together all of us as producers, because sometimes it's kind of nice. I'm in the middle of irrigated pivot corn country and trying to do grass finishing, and so I'm kind of the outlaw there, or people wonder, what in the world are you doing? Why are you trying to feed cattle with grass, using grass rather than corn when we have such an abundance of corn around there? But I think those of us who are here and those of us who are doing this, we have a little different purpose as to why we're doing what we're doing. We're doing it because we feel like it's what God intended for us to do. We're trying to produce a healthy product for our consumers so that we can be proud of what we've done, and at times we need that opportunity to share with each other. Some other people who, sometimes when we're home there, we feel like we're the only ones doing it. And it is difficult. It's more difficult to do that than it is maybe the conventional way that we have just, we can write it down. We got a menu as to how to go about it. With our grass-fed finishing especially, and with our genetics, I mean, there's a whole change that takes place when we do it this way. So it's nice to be able to share with other people. And the Lord has blessed me with a great group of people to work with. I had the opportunity to, when I had this idea, I took it to Terry Gompert. Terry has been my mentor. I had known Terry for 20 years prior to that. And I asked Terry, what do you think of this? And you know, if any of you know Terry said, you bet. You know, he was just all for it. If we had an idea, he'd just jump on with you and help you with it. And so I had Terry, and he said, you know, Terry and I knew nothing about technology, so we found a man that happened to be in Nebraska that at that time that knew something about technology. Joey Jones was with us at that time. We asked him to help us, and that's how we got started. And then I asked John Wood, Todd Churchill, Alan Williams. I had been selling some grass-fed cattle to those people. And so I knew them, and I mean, what a great group of people to have help me get that started. And then from there, the committee kind of started to expand. We had our first exchange in Yankton, South Dakota. Then the next 3 were in Norfolk, Nebraska. And at that point, the committee decided that we had such response from a lot of other states that were coming that maybe we needed to go further, reach out further. And so we went to North Dakota. Gabe Brown, Josh Dukart up there, Gabe's son Paul put on a great conference for us up in Bismarck, North Dakota. I see Ken Miller. We visited his ranch when we were up there. It was a great time to do that. We were able to go to Missouri last year, and this year come up here to Michigan. And I think we have an announcement that we'll be headed to the southeast next year, going down to Perry, Georgia. It'll be a different time of the year. It'll be the end of April that we'll be going down there. They didn't want us to come in October. They thought we may not appreciate the 100-degree, 90% humidity down there at that time. But I don't think it'd be that bad. Gabe had us up to North Dakota when it was 100 degree, the hottest day they'd had for years. But then we had a great time up there. But anyhow, I do want to recognize the committee that we have on the Grassfed Exchange. Gabe Brown back here, we're just very excited and thankful that Gabe has been a part of the committee. Todd Churchill, as I mentioned before, Todd has been with me from the beginning. Abe Collins is not able to be with us today. Abe felt bad about that, but I mean, there's nothing he could do. His grandmother's house was burnt down, and his uncle was in the house at the time and was killed in the fire. And so he has some family issues to take care of back in, and this, just a few days before the conference, he emailed all of us and said that he wouldn't be able to come. So our prayers are with Abe and his family there, and hope that things will, they'll be able to get through this time. Joshua Dukart, Josh over here in front, Josh is the one that's been, I don't know how we get along without what Josh has done. Terry had told me early on that if there's somebody to be able to succeed him in doing some of the things that he had done, is that there's a young man in North Dakota that has got the excitement for the grass-fed industry and has got the ability. And Josh has such a nice way. You'll appreciate Josh more after the day is over, because Josh is. I appreciate Josh. I think the whole committee does. But Clay Nash, many of you have seen Clay. Clay has done ultrasounding and still does as doing this as a business. But Clay has been part of the grass-fed industry, and Clay is that guy that if you want something done, you ask Clay. Clay doesn't say too much, but Clay gets it done. So really appreciate Clay. And the other thing, these people come from all over the country. We're from North Dakota, from Arkansas, from Missouri, from Abe is from Vermont. We've had people from California. We've had another person from Montana. Georgia, Allen in Mississippi. This is just a terrific group of people. I do want to mention, we have a new member on the committee as of a year ago and did not get put in the program. Sorry about that. But Russ Consour used to be with Shell. Russ and his wife Nancy are over here, and what an addition Russ has been to the committee this last year in helping us. And very quick to volunteer and help us in any way that he can. We thank you, Russ. I thank each one of these guys. Doug Peterson from Missouri. Doug, I don't know where you at, Doug.
Right here.
Right up here in front. I was looking for that light shirt, and I knew you had a different one on this morning. But Doug is a grazing expert from Missouri with NRCS and down there, and he's just kind of the grazing person in Missouri. That if you've got a question, you go to Doug. Dr. Jason Roundtree, you got to meet yesterday, and you see the quality of person that we have there and what he's doing. Really appreciated Jason's addition to the committee here. And then we have Alan Williams, which many of you saw last night, the excitement that Alan has in the grass-fed industry and the knowledge and expertise and the people that he knows. Just couldn't get along without somebody like him. And another one of our committee who is not able to be here today is John Wood with U.S. Wellness Meats. John has just put up a new cooler facility where he's keeping there with his business. He's going to be able to process his not processing, but he's bringing the carcasses there and breaking them down there and cutting and cooling in Monticello. And the USDA inspectors are there at this time for that new plant facility opening. He might be able to make it here for a little bit of the time yet for the conference. But these are the people, I mean, that I've got working with me, and I feel humbled that I'm just a producer, you know. I don't even have, I mean, these are CEOs of companies who have, professors of universities who have spoken there in academia. I mean, who am I? But without them, I mean, it wouldn't be possible. And that young lady at the back door back there is the one who has really made life a lot easier for all of us, Kathy Richburg. And you have, we just can't thank her enough. And so anytime that you have a problem or things going on, Kathy is the one that you're speaking with, and the one who is helping us, one who has organized getting things ready here. I told some of the people these last couple of weeks have been extremely busy for me, not with the exchange, but with what I'm doing at home. And I told my wife, Judy, that, my goodness, we got a conference.
Good morning. Hey, welcome to Thursday. You see, last night when I was thinking about what I would talk about this morning in the short little opening that I have, I promise it won't be any more than about an hour and a half, maybe hour 45. But I was thinking about what I could do to, first of all, wake everybody up. Second of all, what I could do to energize the audience and basically set the stage for what we're going to be able to experience the next couple days. And Doug, I didn't come up with anything, really. But then I got to thinking that maybe I don't need to. You see, if yesterday was any indication of what the next 2 days is going to be about, today and tomorrow, I think the stage has already been set. You see, how many of you were on the tour yesterday? What did you think? I would agree, and I think that is always the perfect opening for an educational event like this. Now granted, the next 2 days, you're going to spend some time sitting in that chair in this room, but guess what? You're not going to have to sit there by yourself. You've got the opportunity to network, the opportunity to learn, the opportunity to visit with other people and expand wherever you're at right now. You see, I don't believe that there's necessarily any recipes that are going to be given away over the next day or two, but that's not even the point. The point is to be able to grab a hold of whatever you can and to move forward with it. But I do believe that there's a couple things that we probably need to set in place or set the foundation before we can do that effectively. The first thing I think is the idea of being thankful. With this conference, and I know that Wayne just acknowledged some of us on the committee and Kathy, of course, but you know, without our sponsors, this particular event certainly does not get off the ground. And as you can see back here, our sponsors, one more, here we go. Grass Run Farms, Farm Credit, Shell Game Changer, Graze Up Marketing, Green Acres Foundation, Strauss Brands, and Gratitude Railroad. And of course, wonderfully, that's not it. We have more sponsors. If this will advance for me. There we go. Byron Seeds, Eat From Farms, Michigan State University Center for Regional Food Systems, and now it's going to jump all over on me. Pasture One, Quorum Labs, and Thousand Hills Cattle Company. You see, without these sponsors, this certainly doesn't happen. I would certainly appreciate a round of applause for our sponsors. Secondly, breakfast this morning, the food component of that by Seven Sons, the financial component of that by Gratitude Railroad, Green Acres, and Strauss. The food, basically our mission in all that we do with what we're doing, is very, very important. So please give our food sponsors from this morning a round of applause as well. Secondly, I think that it's important to try and set the stage from an atmosphere standpoint, okay, a learning standpoint, what we're going to, the environment that's going to be most effective for us. With that, we would certainly appreciate anybody with your cell phones, okay? Put them on vibrate, put them on silent, maybe better yet, turn them off altogether. If you do need to take a call, and we understand that that might be the case, please step out into the hallway, and if the doors are open, please step a little further away from the doors as well. That would be very important for the learning component of all of this. In addition to that, there are restrooms back there in the foyer area that you certainly can use as needed, or as you realize you've had more coffee than you originally thought, okay? We do have water on the tables, okay, so take advantage of that. If more coffee is on your agenda, realize that that's actually in the exhibitor room next door, okay? That's by design. The exhibitors play an incredibly important role in what we do as well. They provide the tools to help us achieve the management goals that we have. We will have the opportunity at breaks, at lunch, in the mornings, all of those times to visit with our vendors, our exhibitors, and learn from them just as well as you will learn from the speakers that we have over the next couple of days. Third, I think we need to get our minds in motion and ready for this. Now, I'm not going to play any psychological games or tricks on you, but let me ask you a particular question. When we're making decisions, let's see which category you fall into. Real quickly, what is the answer to this question here? What is 6 plus 2 times 2 plus 8 minus 4 plus 32? Quick, 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 quick. Oh. There's 2 people. There's a couple more. Now, the answer to the question is 46, okay? And it has to do with doing the multiplication first, okay? But that's not really what's important about this. What's important is I want you to ask yourself the question, which category do I fall into? You see, the first category is this. When asked this question, which group? A, you tried to get the answer and you said it out loud. Okay, it's almost reckless abandon. You get an answer, you're going to share it. You're that type of person. Right, wrong, or otherwise, you are going to share it and you are going to let everybody into that category. Willing to risk, willing to fail, and try again. And young man, you didn't even fail. You got it right off the bat. What about the next category? What if you try to get the answer, but I'm going to keep it to myself? Why would you keep it to yourself? Oh, you might be wrong. But is that really the issue? That you're afraid of being wrong? Or are you more afraid of what someone might think about you if you are wrong? Or you could have fell into the third category here of, I'm just going to wait for someone else to get it. You see, I'm not trying to categorize anyone necessarily or say that any of these are wrong or right, but what I do believe is important is that in this room, on the tour that was set by the stage on the tour yesterday, is any and all questions are welcome. If there's something that doesn't make sense, there is a tremendous amount of experience, a tremendous amount of resources in this particular room and in the exhibitor room over there that you can take advantage of. But I think one thing that has been important in those of you that have traveled a long ways along this path is the fact that you have been willing to try things, knowing that you will make mistakes along the way, knowing that not everything is going to work out, but that's okay. And most importantly, it's okay when you have a support system to go along with what you're doing. Now, from a learning standpoint, every one of us learns a bit different, okay? And if you think about the Will Rogers quote, okay, some of us learn by reading, some of us learn, and this is evidently men in particular, some of us learn by observation, and then the rest of us just have to pee on the electric fence for ourselves. But regardless how you learn, whether it's trial and error, whether it's reading, whether it's observing, whether it's working through the issues yourself, whether it's asking lots of questions of other people, it doesn't matter. But know yourself and know what you need to move to that next level. And I would believe that there's probably all three of these categories represented in this particular room. You might need to find who you relate with, who you relate to, and how they can help you move forward. Because I really believe, just as Wayne said in his opening, that there's a tremendous amount of opportunity out there. This is not just a small player anymore. This is gaining momentum. It has a movement behind it. It was demonstrated yesterday, and I believe that reputation will be fully intact continuing through today and tomorrow. When you look at that screen, what words do you see? Opportunity is now here. Could you read that differently? You certainly could. But that's your choice. Okay? I won't even tell you which one I prefer, although you can probably guess pretty quickly. You see, if we take that and we look at everything that we do, not from a glass half empty standpoint, but from a glass half full standpoint, to where we can see what other people are doing, not ultimately jump to judgment and decide, well, that works in Michigan, or that works in North Dakota, or that worked in Missouri last year, but take that creative side that all of us have, dig deep to find it, and find out how we can take this management scheme, these tools, adapt them, tweak them, cook up our own recipe, and therefore contribute to this movement of regenerative, soil health focused, grass-based type of agriculture that I really think is and holds a very strong future in agriculture. Last thing that I would like you to do. You heard me mention earlier about support network. And the wonderful thing about conferences like this is we really have a support network built in already. Sometimes we just need to push that one step further to the point of fully meeting who is in your support network. One of the things that the Grassfed Exchange did a number of months ago is went through a strategic planning type of opportunity. Through that opportunity, we had the opportunity to not only get to know each other better, but find out what goals and purposes were behind the actions and decisions of each one of us and how those could contribute on a much larger basis. So what I would like you to do is at your tables, I'm going to give you a few minutes, and this isn't simply an introduction to each other. I do want you to tell each other at the table who you are and where you're from, but most importantly, I want you to take just a couple minutes and share why you're here. Why did you take 2 or 3 or maybe even 4 or 5, depending on travel plans, why did you take those days out of your very busy schedule and come here? Who you are, where you're from, why you're here.